The phone glowed on the kitchen counter. A silent traitor. Its screen flickered. A stranger's name, Jake, pulsing in the dark. My wife's phone, left behind after she'd rushed out for book club. Book club at 9 p.m. on a Tuesday? The air in our suburban Ohio home felt thick, like the moment before a storm. I didn't touch it at first. 40 years of marriage taught me to trust Ellen. Her laugh, her coffee breath, the way she hummed off-key to Springsteen. But that name, Jake, clawed at me. A single text, meet me tomorrow. Usual spot. Usual spot? My chest tightened. I wasn't a snooper. I was a retired history teacher, a guy who graded papers and mowed the lawn. Yet here I was, staring at her phone like it held a grenade. The house creaked, the fridge humming its dull tune. I picked up the phone. Her passcode, our anniversary, 0423, unlocked it. The text thread was short, cryptic. Jake, you're late on the papers. Ellen, I'm working on it. Don't push. Papers? What papers? My mind spun. Was she cheating? The word felt foreign, like a language I didn't speak. Ellen, with her cardigans and crossword puzzles. Cheating? I scroll further. Another text from Jake. If you don't deliver, I talk. Talk to who? My pulse thumped my ears. I set the phone down, hand shaking. The clock ticked toward 10. She'd be home soon. I wandered her office, a cluttered nook off the living room. Her desk was a mess. Pens, sticky notes, a half-eaten muffin. I opened a drawer, feeling like a thief. Nothing but receipts, a stapler, a dog-eared novel. Then, under a stack of bills, a leather journal. Not her usual planner. I flipped it open. No dates, no appointments. Just numbers, columns of them, and names I didn't know. Transfer, $5,000, J. Riley. Drop, Columbus, March 15th. My stomach churned. Was this a code? A ledger? Ellen, the woman who baked for the neighborhood potluck. Keeping secrets in a journal? I heard her car in the driveway. My heart raced. I shoved the journal back, closed the drawer. The front door opened, and her voice called, Han, I'm home. Bright, warm, like nothing was wrong. I stood frozen, the phone still on the counter. She walked in, her scarf loose, her cheeks flushed. You okay? She asked, eyeing me. I nodded, my throat dry. Just couldn't sleep. She smiled, kissed my cheek, and grabbed her phone. Her fingers lingered on it, a flicker of something, guilt, in her eyes. I forced a smile back. Good book club. She laughed, too quick. Oh, same old gossip. Gossip, right. That night, I lay awake, her breathing steady beside me. Jake's text burned in my mind. Papers, transfers, Columbus. I wasn't a detective, but I taught kids to question sources, to dig for truth. Ellen was hiding something, and it wasn't just an affair. The journal's numbers danced in my head. Was she in trouble, or was she the trouble? I wanted to shake her, demand answers, but I didn't. Not yet. I needed proof. The next morning, she left for errands. I waited until her car vanished down our quiet street, past a coffee shop where we'd shared lattes for decades. Then I went back to her office. The journal was still there, but something new caught my eye. A key, taped under the desk. Small, brass, unmarked. It didn't fit any lock in the house. My hands trembled as I pocketed it. A key to what? A safe? A storage unit? Jake's place? The thought made my skin crawl. I sat at her desk, staring at the journal. The numbers, the names, they weren't random. They were a map to something bigger. I flipped to a page with a single word. Alias. My breath caught. Alias? Ellen, with her PTA meetings and apple pies, had an alias? I heard a car outside. Not hers, just a neighbor's. Still, my heart pounded. I was in too deep now. No turning back. She'd be home in an hour. I had to move fast. The key burned in my pocket. I grabbed my coat, my mind racing. Columbus was an hour away. If I could find a drop, I'd find Jake. I'd find the truth. As I stepped outside, the wind bit my face, sharp and cold. I glanced back at our house, its cheery yellow paint mocking me. 40 years, and I didn't know her at all. The key sat heavy in my pocket, a cold, jagged thing. I drove toward Columbus, the Ohio skyline smudging into gray. Last night's discovery, Ellen's journal, that word, alias, gnawed at me. My wife, my Ellen, wasn't who I thought. The radio droned local news. A diner fire, a community fair. Normal life. Not mine. Jake's text, usual spot, looped in my head. Was a motel? A bar? I gripped the wheel, my knuckles white. 40 years of trust, and here I was chasing a ghost. Columbus buzzed with morning traffic. I parked near a strip of warehouses, the kind that squat on the city's edge, forgotten. The journal mentioned Columbus, 3/15. Today was March 16th, but I had the key. I wandered, scanning rusted doors. One warehouse, its sign faded, had a lock that matched. My heart thudded. I slid the key in. It turned. The door groaned open, revealing shadows and dust. Inside, crates loomed, labeled with numbers. A stale smell, paper, mildew, hit me. This was no lover's hideout. This was something else. I moved deeper, my sneakers soft on concrete. A desk sat in a corner, littered with envelopes, a coffee mug. I rifled through papers. Invoices, shipping logs, names I didn't know. Then, a folder marked E. Harper. Harper? Ellen's maiden name was Walsh. My hand shook as I opened it. A driver's license stared back, Ellen's face, but the name read Emma Harper. Born 1965, not 1963. My stomach twisted. An alias, a fake life. Another paper listed bank transfers. $10,000, $15,000 to A.J. Riley. Jake? My mind reeled. Was she running a scam? With him? Footsteps echoed outside. I froze, the folder clutched tight. The door was still ajar, daylight slicing through. I shoved the license in my pocket, my pulse hammering. The steps stopped. A shadow flickered. I ducked behind a crate, my breath shallow. Was it Jake? Ellen? Someone worse? The air felt electric, like before a fight. I wasn't built for this. 62, bad knees, a guy who read biographies for fun. But I couldn't leave. Not now. The shadow moved. A man's voice, low, muttered something. Not Ellen. I peeked out. He was gone, but a new paper lay on the desk, half torn. I crept over, my heart in my throat. It was a contract and signed for document services. Forgery? The numbers matched the journals. $5,000 due tomorrow. To J. Riley. I stuffed it in my coat. The warehouse felt like a trap now, its walls closing in. I had to get out. I slipped toward the door, the key still in my pocket. Outside, the lot was empty, but a car idled a block away. Tinted windows. I didn't wait to see who it was. I jogged to my car, my chest tight. Back on the highway, the license burned in my pocket. Emma Harper. Who was she? Ellen's secret self? A con artist? My mind churned. I'd taught kids about history. Dates, facts, truth. But my own history, our marriage, was a lie. I stopped at a diner, the kind with sticky menus and tired waitresses. Over coffee, I studied the license. Ellen's eyes, but colder, sharper. I wanted to call her, scream, "Who are you?" But I didn't. She'd lie. She was good at that. The contract mentioned a meeting tomorrow, 8 p.m., at a bar called the Rusty Anchor. I knew it. Dingy near the river. If Jake was there, I'd see him. I'd know. As I paid, my phone buzzed. Ellen. Home soon? Her text read. My fingers hovered. I typed, "Yeah, errands?" A lie for a lie. I drove back, the city fading into suburbs. Our house waited, its windows dark. Ellen's car was in the drive. She was inside, humming, oblivious. I gripped the license, the contract, the key. Tomorrow, I'd go to that bar. I'd find Jake. I'd face her lies. The Rusty Anchor's neon sign buzzed, casting a sickly glow over the river. I parked across the street, the contract and fake license. Emma Harper, tucked in my glove box. Ellen's face on that ID haunted me. Her eyes too sharp, like she'd always been someone else. Tonight, I'd find Jake. I'd get answers. The bar's windows were grimy, the kind of place where secrets fester. My stomach knotted as I stepped inside, the air thick with beer and regret. It was 7:55 p.m. 2025, and my marriage hung by a thread. The crowd was sparse, truckers, loners, a jukebox whining Springsteen. I slid into a booth, my coat still on, the key in my pocket, a cold reminder. Ellen was home, or so she'd said, baking for the church fair, always the perfect wife. I scanned the room. No Jake, not yet. A waitress, her name tag reading Bev, dropped a menu. "You look lost," she said, half smirking. I forced a grin, just waiting for someone. She shrugged, wandered off. My hand shook. Was I really doing this? At 8:05, the door swung open. My heart stopped. Ellen, my Ellen, in a black coat I didn't recognize, her hair loose, wild. She didn't see me. She moved to a corner table where a man waited, lean, maybe 40, with a scar on his jaw. "Jake?" I ducked lower, my pulse roaring. They leaned close, heads bent, voices low. I strained to hear over the jukebox. "Papers aren't ready," she hissed. He snapped, "You're out of time, Emma." Emma. My blood ran cold. She was Emma Harper here, not Ellen. I edged closer, hiding behind a pillar. Their words drifted. "Riley's getting antsy," he said. "You owe him." Ellen's voice cracked. "I need a week." He laughed, sharp, cruel. "Or I tell your husband everything." My chest tightened. Tell me what? That she was a cheat? A forger? A fugitive? The contract mentioned document services. Fake IDs, passports, deeds? I wanted to storm over, demand the truth. But I didn't. I needed more. Ellen slid an envelope across the table. He opened it, counted cash, nodded. "This buys you 2 days," he said. She stood, her face pale, and left without looking back. He stayed, sipping his beer. I watched him, memorizing his face. Scar, dark eyes, a tattoo peeking from his sleeve. Jake, or whoever he was, held my wife's secrets. I could follow him, confront him. But Ellen's car was still outside. She hadn't driven off. Where was she? I slipped out, the night air biting. Her car was parked a block away, empty. No Ellen. My mind raced. Was she circling back? Meeting Riley? I jogged to my car, the key digging into my palm. I had to follow her, or him, or both. My phone buzzed, Ellen's name. "Home late," her text read. Fair planning ran long. A lie, bold as daylight. I didn't reply. I started the engine, my eyes on the bar. Jake, or Scarface, stepped out, lighting a cigarette. He glanced around, then walked toward a black sedan. I tailed him, keeping distance. Columbus's streets blurred. Diners, gas stations, a world I thought I knew. He stopped at a motel, the kind with flickering signs and bad coffee. Room 12. He went in, the door slamming. I parked, my heart pounding. Ellen wasn't here, but her secrets were. I could knock, demand answers. Or wait, dig deeper. The license, the contract, the journal, they pointed to a bigger lie. Emma Harper wasn't just an alias. She was a life Ellen had buried. Back home, Ellen was in the kitchen, humming, flour on her apron. "Good day?" she asked, all smiles. I nodded, my throat tight. "Yeah, quiet." She didn't notice my hand shaking, the key in my pocket. I'd go back to that motel. I'd find Riley. I'd unravel Emma Harper. But tonight, I played the husband, eating her pie, swallowing her lies. The motel sign flickered, a dying pulse in the Columbus night. I sat in my car, eyes locked on room 12. Jake, or Scarface, as I dubbed him, was inside, maybe plotted with Ellen's cash. The key in my pocket felt like a loaded gun. Emma Harper's license, tucked in my wallet, burned hotter. My wife wasn't just cheating. She was someone else, a stranger named Emma, tangled in forgery, maybe worse. The dashboard clock read 10 p.m. Ellen thought I was home, grading old papers for nostalgia. Instead, I was here, unraveling 40 years of trust. Room 12's curtain twitched. I sank lower, my heart thumping. Jake stepped out, a duffel bag slung over his shoulder. He lit a cigarette, scanned the lot, and walked to the sedan. I waited, breath held, until his taillights vanished. The motel was quiet now, just crickets and the hum of a vending machine. I grabbed a flashlight from my glove box. Stupid, maybe, but I had to know what he was hiding. Room 12's door was my target. The key didn't fit, but the lock looked flimsy. I glanced around. No one. A credit card, a trick from a student years ago. Popped the door open. Inside, the room stank of smoke and cheap cologne. A bed unmade. Pizza boxes, beer cans. I moved fast, checking drawers, under pillows. Nothing. Then, under the mattress, a manila envelope. My hand shook as I opened it. Letters, typed, no names. One read, Emma, final payment due March 18th. Riley's cut, $20,000. No delays. Another listed addresses, Chicago, Denver, Columbus. Drop points? My mind spun. Ellen was forging documents, moving money. But for who? Riley? Jake? I stuffed the letters in my coat. Evidence. Proof. A car's headlights swept the lot. I froze, ducking behind the bed. The engine cut off. Footsteps, slow, deliberate. My pulse roared. Had Jake double back? I peered through the curtain. Ellen's car. My Ellen, stepping out, her face pale, eyes darting. She'd seen my car. Damn it, I'd parked too close. She moved toward the motel, her phone in hand, texting. My phone buzzed, silent mode. Her message. Where are you? Cars at the motel. My stomach dropped. She knew. I slipped out the back window, heart pounding, the letters crinkling in my coat. The alley was dark, littered with trash. I crouched behind a dumpster, watching. Ellen knocked on room 12's door, her voice sharp. Jake, open up. No answer. She cursed, soft Nodder style, and got back in her car. She didn't leave. She sat, staring at my car, waiting for me. My mind raced. She wasn't just cheating. She was scared, maybe desperate. But why? What was Riley holding over her? I waited, muscles aching, until her car finally pulled away. The letters felt heavy, dangerous. I drove home, the city a blur. Our house was dark. Ellen's car in the drive. She was inside, playing the wife, probably baking again. I hid the letters in my toolbox. The license, too. Tomorrow I'd find Riley. The addresses in the letter, Chicago, Denver, were clues. But Columbus was closer. Another drop. Maybe. I had to act fast before Ellen realized how much I knew. She was in the kitchen when I walked in, sipping tea, her smile tight. Late night, she said, not a question. I nodded, my throat dry. Couldn't sleep. Her eyes lingered, searching. Did she suspect? You okay? She asked, too soft. I shrugged, just tired. She kissed my cheek, her lips cold. I saw Emma Harper in her now, not Ellen. A liar, a ghost. I lay awake, the letters word circling. Riley. Payments. Drops. Ellen was in deep, and I was sinking with her. Tomorrow, I'd check the Columbus address. A storage unit. Maybe. Or Riley himself. I didn't know what I'd do when I found him. Confront him? Turn her in? The key. The license, the letters. They were pieces of a puzzle I didn't want to solve. But I had to. The storage unit's lock clicked. A traitor spilling secrets. The Columbus address from Jake's letter led here. A squat facility off the highway. Its gates rusted, its lights dim. The key from Ellen's desk fit perfectly. My flashlight cut through the dark, revealing a concrete box stuffed with crates, files, a life I didn't know. Emma Harper's life. My wife's shadow self. It was 6 a.m., the world still asleep, but my heart raced like I'd run a marathon. Ellen thought I was at the diner, grabbing coffee. Instead, I was peeling back her lies. The unit smelled of dust and ink. I pried open a crate. Inside, stacks of IDs, passports, birth certificates. dozens of names, but one face kept appearing: Ellen's. Emma Harper, Emily Holt, Erica Hayes. My stomach churned. She wasn't just forging documents. She was forging lives. A folder labeled Riley held bank statements, transfers to offshore accounts. Millions. My Ellen, the woman who clipped coupons, was moving millions? I found a letter, handwritten. Emma, you can't run forever. Chicago, 98. I know. Chicago, 98. Before we met. What happened there? I stuffed an ID, Erica Hayes, and the letter in my coat. My phone buzzed. Ellen, where are you? Her text read, sharp, no warmth. I typed, diner, back soon. My hand shook. Did she know I was here? A noise outside, a car door. I killed the flashlight, crouched behind a crate. Footsteps, slow, deliberate. Scarface, Jake, his cigarette glowing red. He didn't enter, just stood, watching. My breath caught. Had he followed me? Or was this his drop too? He muttered something, then left. I waited, lungs burning, until his car growled away. My mind spun. Jake wasn't just Ellen's lover or partner. He was watching me. I grabbed another file. Photos grainy of a younger Ellen. A man I didn't know. A bank. Chicago, 98. A heist? A scam? I needed answers. But every clue tightened the noose around my heart. Ellen wasn't trapped. She was the architect. I locked the unit. The key heavy in my hand. Back in my car, I studied the letter. Chicago, 98. I know. Riley knew her past. Jake knew her present. I was the fool piecing it together. The storage unit was a gold mine, but dangerous. If Jake saw me, he'd tell her. Or worse. I drove to a coffee shop, the kind with locals gossiping over pancakes. Safe, normal. I ordered black coffee, my hand still shaking. The ID, Erica Hayes, stared up at me. Ellen's eyes, but colder, like she'd never loved me. My phone rang. Ellen, her voice bright, forced. Hon, you okay? You sound off. I swallowed. Just tired. She paused, too long. Come home. I miss you. Miss me? Or miscontrolling me? I mumbled. Soon, and hung up. The coffee shop's chatter faded. Chicago, 98. Riley. Jake. The pieces didn't fit, not yet. But the next address in the letter, Denver, was too far. Columbus had more answers. Another drop. Tomorrow, per the letter. A courier, maybe. I'd be there. I drove home, the morning sun harsh. Ellen was in the garden, pruning roses, her smile perfect. Good coffee? She asked, her eyes searching. I nodded, my throat tight. Best in town. She hugged me, her scent familiar, but wrong. Emma Harper's scent. I saw Jake's cigarette glow in my mind, his shadow at the unit. He was close. Too close. Tonight, I'd hide the files in my shed. Tomorrow, I'd find the courier. I'd learn what Chicago meant. I'd learn who Ellen really was. The courier's van idled outside a Columbus pawn shop, its engine a low growl. I parked 2 blocks away, the letter's next drop point, 4 p.m. Today, burned into my brain. Ellen's fake IDs, her Chicago secret, weighed on me. Emma Harper, Erica Hayes, a dozen names for one face. My wife's face. The storage unit's files were hidden in my shed now, locked tight. But Jake's shadow, his cigarette glow, haunted me. He'd seen me, I was sure. And Ellen's last call, her too sweet, I miss you, felt like a trap. I was running out of time. The pawn shop sign flickered. Cash for gold, in faded red. I watched from my car, the key in my pocket, the stolen letter. Chicago, 98, folded tight. A man, wiry, baseball cap low, stepped out of the van. The courier. He carried a briefcase, glanced around, and slipped inside. My pulse quickened. Whatever he held tied Ellen to Riley, to Jake, to a past she'd buried. I waited 5 minutes, then followed, my coat collar up. The shop smelled of dust and desperation. Shelves stuffed with guitars, watches, lies. The courier was at the counter, talking low to a clerk. I browsed. pretending to eye a radio. Their voices drifted. Riley's package, the courier said. For Emma. The clerk nodded, slid a padded envelope across. I froze. Emma, my Ellen. I edged closer, heart pounding, and saw the courier open the envelope. Papers, official-looking with seals. Passports? Deeds? He stuffed them in his briefcase, left. I trailed him, keeping distance. He drove to a warehouse, not the one I'd searched, but close. Another drop. I parked, watched him enter. No Jake, no Ellen. Yet, I crept to a side window, peering through grime. The courier handed the envelope to a woman, short, gray hair. She counted cash, gave him a nod. I couldn't hear, but her face was hard, calculating, like Ellen's on that fake ID. I snapped a photo with my phone, shaky but clear. The courier left, but the woman stayed, sorting papers. I needed that envelope, but breaking in here now? Too risky. I'd come back tonight. My phone buzzed. Ellen, home for dinner? Her voice, when I answered, was tight. You've been out a lot. I swallowed. Errands. Be there soon. She paused. Okay, hon. Honorable the word stung. Back home, she was in the living room, sorting laundry, my coat, the one with the letter, hung nearby. You're quiet, she said, folding a shirt, her eyes flicking to me. Something wrong? I forced a smile. Just tired. She nodded, but her hands lingered on my coat. Did she know? That night, I waited until she slept, her breathing steady. I checked my coat. The letter was still there, but folded wrong. My heart sank. She looked. I moved the files from the shed to my car's trunk. Safer. The photo of the warehouse woman burned in my phone. I searched Chicago 1998 bank scam. A headline popped up, $2M heist, suspect vanished. A grainy photo, Ellen younger with different hair. My chest tightened. My wife was a thief, a fugitive. Emma Harper was her escape. I drove back to the warehouse. Midnight, the city asleep. The envelope might still be there. But as I parked, headlights flashed. Jake's sedan creeping close. He didn't see me, but he was circling, hunting. For the courier? The woman? Me? I ducked low, my breath shallow. The key, the letter, the photo, they were enough to bury Ellen. But I needed the envelope. I needed to know why she ran, why she lied. I needed to know if I could still love her. The warehouse door creaked, a whisper in the midnight dark. I slipped inside, flashlight low, the key in my pocket a silent anchor. Jake's sedan had vanished, but a cigarette stink lingered in my mind. The envelope from the courier, Ellen's secrets, Riley's orders, waited somewhere in this maze of crates. My wife, the fugitive, the thief. Chicago, 98. A $2 million heist. Her face in grainy newsprint. Emma Harper wasn't just an alias. She was a criminal, and I was the fool who loved her. My heart thudded, but I moved, quiet, desperate. The woman from earlier, gray-haired, hard-faced, was gone. Her desk, cluttered with papers, beckoned. I rifled through, hands trembling. Passports, fake deeds, more IDs. Ellen's face, again as Erica Hayes. Then a letter sealed, addressed to E.H. I tore it open. Ellen's handwriting. Riley, I'm done. Last drop, then I'm out. New name, new city. He can't know. He, me, my chest burned. She was planning to run. Again, a post-it note stuck to the letter, listed a flight. Denver, March 20th. Tomorrow. I stuffed the letter in my coat, my mind reeling. She'd leave me our life, her lies, and vanish. A floorboard groaned. I froze, flashlight off. Footsteps heavy, outside. Jake. His shadow crossed the window. Slow, deliberate. My pulse roared. Had he seen my car? I crouched behind crate. The letter crinkling. A traitor in my pocket. He didn't enter, just paced, muttering. She's slipping. He said, to someone, phone maybe. Riley's pissed. The footsteps faded, but my hands shook. Jake wasn't just her partner. He was her watchdog. I waited, lungs tight, then slipped out a back exit. The night air sharp. In my car, I read the letter again. Denver. New name. She'd done this before. Chicago, 98. Then here is Ellen, my wife. I wanted to hate her, but her words he can't know. Cut deeper. Was she protecting me? Or just her secrets? I drove home, the city a blur. Our house glowed. Ellen's car in the drive. She was awake, in the kitchen, pouring tea. You're late, she said, her smile thin, eyes sharp. Where were you? I shrugged, my coat heavy with her letter. Walk. Couldn't sleep. She stepped closer, her gaze flicking to my coat. You've been distant, she said, soft, probing. My throat tightened. The letter, the key, the IDs, they were in my car now, safe. But her eyes saw too much. Just tired, I said, forcing a yawn. She nodded, but her fingers brushed my sleeve, lingering. I saw Emma Harper in her, calculating, cold. Get some rest, she said, turning away. I watched her, the woman I'd loved for 40 years, planning her escape. Denver, tomorrow. I could stop her, confront her, or follow her. I lay awake, her breathing steady beside me. The letter's words looped. New name, new city. Riley, Jake, the heist. They were her past, clawing at her. At us. I had the letter, the photo, the IDs, enough to ruin her. But did I want to? Part of me wanted to grab her, beg her to explain. The other part, colder, wanted her gone. I'd go to the airport tomorrow. I'd see her board that flight. I'd find Riley's last drop, the final piece. I'd know why she ran and who she really was. The airport's hum was a dull roar, voices and footsteps blending into static. I stood by a coffee kiosk, eyes on Ellen. 50 yards away, her black coat stark against the crowd. Columbus International, March 20th, 10 a.m. Her Denver flight boarded soon. The letter, new name, new city, was in my car, with the IDs, the key, her lies. My wife, Emma Harper, the fugitive, was running again. Chicago, 98, a $2 million heist. She'd built a life with me, a lie, and now she'd vanish. My heart pounded, but I wasn't here to stop her. Not yet. I needed Riley's last drop. The truth. She checked her phone, nervous, her bag clutched tight. Then Jake appeared, scar on his jaw, his walk cocky. My stomach twisted. They spoke, heads close, by a gate. I edged nearer, hiding behind a pillar, the crowd my shield. Riley's deal closes tonight, Jake said, voice low. You're free after. Ellen nodded, tense. He better keep his word. Jake smirked. Or I talk. To everyone. Everyone. Me? The cops? I gripped my coffee, scald in my hand, but didn't flinch. Riley's deal. Her ticket out. I snapped a photo, blurry but damning. Ellen glanced up, her eyes sweeping the terminal. I ducked, heart racing. Did she see me? Jake handed her a ticket, whispered something. She nodded, her face pale, and walked toward security. Jake stayed, scanning the crowd. I slipped behind a family, my cap low. Ellen was boarding, but Jake wasn't. He was hunting. For me? The letter mentioned a final drop, Columbus. Tonight. Jake knew where. I'd follow him, not her. She'd be in Denver by then, gone. But I'd have Riley. My phone buzzed. Ellen's name. At the fair, her text lied. Home late. I didn't reply. She was covering, buying time. I tailed Jake, keeping distance. He left the airport, drove to a diner, the kind with greasy spoons and tired waitresses. I parked across the street, watching. He met a man, stocky, gray suit, maybe 50. Riley? They talked, intense, over coffee. I couldn't hear, but Jake slid an envelope across. The man pocketed it, left. Jake stayed, lighting a cigarette, his eyes on the door, like he knew I was there. I waited, my car a cage. Ellen's flight was gone. She was halfway to Denver, to her new name. My chest ached, not for love, but for betrayal. 40 years, and I was a footnote. The diner's neon buzzed, mocking me. I could confront Jake now, demand Riley's name, the deal's details. But he'd lie or worse. The envelope, the drop, it was my last shot. I checked the letter again. Columbus, March 20th, 8 p.m. 2 hours from now, a bar, the Rusty Anchor, where I'd first seen them. Full circle. I drove home. The house dark. Ellen's roses wilting in the garden. Her absence was loud, final. I checked the shed, my files, her IDs safe, but her office drawer was open, paper scattered. She'd been searching. For what? The key? The letter? My skin crawled. She knew I was close. I hid the files in my trunk, grabbed a jacket, and headed to the bar. Jake would be there. Riley, maybe. The truth, definitely. I wasn't a hero, just a retired teacher, chasing a ghost. But I'd finish this. The Rusty Anchor's air was sour, thick with beer and lies. I sat in a booth, the key in my pocket, Ellen's fake IDs hidden in my car. Jake was at the bar, scar glinting under neon, sipping whiskey. The letters drop 8 p.m. Tonight was here. Riley's deal, Ellen's escape, my marriage's end. She was in Denver now, a new name, a new life. Emma Harper, fugitive, thief. Chicago, 98, $2 million stolen. I'd loved a ghost for 40 years. My hands shook, but I was done hiding. I needed Jake to talk. He glanced my way, eyes narrowing. I held his stare, my coffee cold. He smirked, sauntered over, slid into my booth. "You're the husband," he said, voice low, amused. My jaw tightened. "What's Riley got on her?" I asked, no preamble. His smirk faded. "You're in deep, oh man." I leaned forward. "Talk, or I go to the cops." "I've got her IDs, her letters." His eyes flickered. Fear, maybe. He lit a cigarette, exhaled slow. "Emma's no saint," he said. "Chicago, 98. Bank job." She and Riley pulled it off. "Split the cash?" She ran, changed her name. "Met you." My chest burned. Ellen, a bank robber. My Ellen. Why now? I asked. Jake shrugged. Riley found her. Wanted his cut. She forged IDs, moved money to keep him quiet. Blackmail. I saw her face, pale at the airport. Scared. "And you?" I said. He grinned, cold. "I'm the muscle. Make sure she delivers." I gripped my mug, wanted to smash it. "She's gone," I said. "Denver." Jake's grin vanished. "She what?" His phone buzzed. He ignored it, eyes on me. "You let her run?" I didn't answer. I hadn't let her. I just failed. The bar's jukebox kicked on, Springsteen again. Jake leaned back. "Riley's here tonight. Wants his final payment." She screwed him. "So you're the loose end." My pulse spiked. "Riley here?" I scanned the room. The man from the diner, gray suit, sat in a corner, watching us. "Riley." Jake followed my gaze, nodded. "He's not happy," he said. My phone buzzed. "Ellen." I answered, my voice low. "What?" Her voice cracked, desperate. "I'm sorry. I had to leave. Riley, he'll hurt you. Stay away." She hung up. I stared at Jake, Riley's shadow looming. "What's the deal?" I asked. Jake stubbed his cigarette. "Fake deeds. Big sale, offshore buyer. Emma's last job. I had her letter, her plan to run. I could give it to Riley, bury her, or walk away, let her disappear. But Riley's eyes, cold, locked on me. Jake stood. Talk to him, or run. Your call." I didn't move. 40 years, and it came to this. A bar choice. Justice? Revenge? I saw Ellen's face, her lies, her fear. I loved her, still. Damn it. I stood, walked to Riley's table. He didn't smile. "You're her husband," he said, voice smooth, dangerous. "Where's my money?" I sat, the key heavy, the letters words. New name, new city, burning. "She's gone," I said. His eyes narrowed. "Then you pay." My mind raced. The IDs, the files, enough to turn him in. But Ellen's voice, her plea, echoed. I could save her or destroy her. Riley leaned closer, his breath sharp. Choose fast, old man. Riley's eyes were knives, cutting through the bar's dim haze. The rusty anchor pulsed with low chatter, but his voice, smooth as venom, drowned it out. You pay or you bleed, he said, leaning close. My hand gripped the key in my pocket. Ellen's lies, her IDs, her letter, safe in my car. Emma Harper, fugitive, thief, my wife. Chicago, 98, a $2 million heist. 40 years of love, built on sand. Jake watched from a bar, his scar warning. Ellen's plea, stay away, echoed. I wasn't a hero, just a retired teacher, cornered by her past. But I'd choose now. I met Riley's gaze. I've got nothing, I said, calm, cold. His lip curled. Wrong answer. I leaned back, the letter's words. New name, new city, steadying me. Check my car, I said. Trunk. Her files. IDs, deeds, your deals. His eyes flickered, surprised. Jake shifted, tense. I'd planned this. Late last night, after Ellen 10p. M called my old cop friend. The original's bait. Riley nodded to Jake, who left a check. My pulse thrummed, but I held steady. Jake returned, the files in hand. Riley flipped through, his face darkening. Clever, he muttered. But she's gone. Denver. I nodded. And you're exposed. His jaw tightened. I'd mailed copies to the police, anonymous, with a note. Chicago Heist 98. Emma Harper. Riley didn't know. Not yet. Jake's phone buzzed. He answered, his face paling. Cops, he hissed. Riley stood, fast, but I was faster. Run, I said, or they'll find you first. He glared, then bolted, Jake trailing. The bar's crowd barely noticed. I drove home, the night heavy. Ellen's roses were dead, the house empty. My phone rang. Her from Denver. I'm sorry, she sobbed. Riley forced me. I loved you. Loved. Past tense. My chest ached, but I saw Emma, not Ellen. You're free, I said, voice flat. But you're done. I hung up. No forgiveness. No second chance. I'd faxed her letter, her flight details, to Riley's buyer, offshore. They'd hunt her, not me. Subtle, sharp, final. The next day, I filed for divorce. Papers signed, simple, clean. Our house, our memories, felt like a museum of lies. I kept the key, a reminder, not of love, but of truth. The police called, asking about Emma Harper. I played dumb, gave them Riley's name, Jake's. They'd dig, find her trail. I didn't need to see her fall. Knowing she'd run forever, looking over her shoulder, was enough. Revenge, not loud, but deep, like a wound that never heals. I sat at the diner, coffee bitter, the town waking up. Neighbors waved, oblivious. The fair was tomorrow, life marching on. Ellen was gone, Emma too. I was alone but free. Her lies had broken me, but I'd rebuilt piece by piece. The key sat on the table, glinting. I'd toss it in the river later. For now, I sipped, watched the sunrise, and let her go.
Thanks for watching. Subscribe my channel for more stories.